So what I'm talking about today, though, is vegan, nourished and thriving. And I heard that we had a lot of talk before about the passion around being a vegan, which is lovely and important. I mean, I have a lot of passion about my life and my values and what I do, and I think it brings joy and direction to our lives, doesn't it, when we have that kind of passion. And veganism is one of those for quite a few people, which is exciting. And whether it's vegetarianism or veganism, there's obviously a big difference, and both are without the animals in one shape or another. So my passion is about optimal health and what that means for us. And I want to have the scientific background behind that. So not an opinion, so anything I say is actually not my opinion today. It is actually what research and science has shown us to be right. And I will explain a little bit more about that. And what actually optimal health is. So a little bit about myself. I started life with huge amount of physical problems, particularly around my skin. I had eczema all over my body, and my parents were really worried about it, and I had to sit almost naked in a little pram because anything that touched my skin really immediately reacted. And they took me to all sorts of doctors and nutritionists and all sorts of different things. Now, this is quite a long time ago, so at that time, people didn't really know about the connection with health, skin, and nutrition. You know, that's a long time ago, and then they didn't know that. It's actually different now. People know a lot of things now, which is fantastic. I started the company because I had a girlfriend with breast cancer, and my parents were getting older, and I was getting really frustrated because I was taking all these amazing things myself, and I couldn't give it to them because powder is dead and it doesn't do much. So I wanted the fresh, live things, and so that's harder to deal with, and particularly when you're just an enthusiast. So that's actually how it started. Now, the things I want to talk about today is about the science behind plants and plant-based nutrition and what it can really do for us. The benefits around that. I'll also learn about how you can make it easy and enjoyable, because it can be really quite time-consuming and full of intention and labor and so on, and that's not for everyone. We have busy lives, and we want to enjoy our lives as well, and we don't want to necessarily let that part of life take over. So I'm going to show you about that. I'm also going to explain to you why particularly green vegetables are so important. And it's really interesting because downstairs, and it's not the first time, people come to me, and this is even a vegan fest. So, and people come and they go, ooh, that's a green juice, that's a green drink. I don't know about that. And that surprises me every time, but then I'm a bit brainwashed sometimes. So, you know, people think, green, am I supposed to drink that? And so I'll explain about the importance, the vital importance of green vegetables, and from a scientific background, obviously. And I'm also going to show you how you prepare a really delicious drink in just 3 minutes, well actually less, a minute, and how I do that every day, and how it really just fuels the body when we do this, and why it fuels the body compared to other things. Now, vegan health particularly, there are some really, really good, important things about it that is strengthening us as vegans. So, oh, that's interesting. That actually went a bit too far. So, obviously, usually, it's a low-fat diet. It might not be, but usually it is. That's important. It means that we will have reduced heart problems. And often people take fruits and nuts, and they are conscious about these things, so that is fantastic. So generally speaking, being vegan should reduce really the heart health, which is nice. It also, because we don't take any red meat, it also means the other thing again, heart. So very, very good. It has a lower risk of diabetes, and that's particularly because hopefully we are also reducing the intake of sugars. And I know that that's not necessarily linked, and I give a lot of talks to a lot of people, so I know that it doesn't necessarily need to be linked, but if it is linked, then that's a really, really good thing. So, and if we, with the exercise and healthy weight, we end up with a real lowered risk of cancers. And there's a lot of science behind that. So, really great. Now, if you look at the other side of being vegan and vegan health, we have to make sure that we get the B vitamins, particularly B12. And B12, interestingly, is actually a bacteria. So it sits on our vegetables. Very interestingly. It's a special kind of what we call vitamin compared to other vitamins. Vegans usually don't get enough of it because it is also associated with meat. A lot of meats has B12 in it. So that's a really important thing. Shell fish and things like that have B12. So that's a really important thing to know and to think about. And the consequences are severe if we have long-term reduced levels of that. We need to make sure that we have calcium, iron and zinc particularly, because that will be lacking in our diets, being vegans, if we don't watch out. And we can do stuff about it, so it's not a big deal. But if we don't do it, we will actually suffer health-wise, which would be such a shame of an otherwise very, very healthy lifestyle. So, particularly those who don't eat eggs, we need really dark vegetables. We need tofu, we need the nuts, we need butternut squash, the calcium. We can also take calcium fortified things. But if we don't do that, we will end up longer term suffering from health. So these are the sorts of things that science is telling us to do. Absolutely critical. And I have come across vegans that have all the right passions and visions for animal health, but forget to think about how do I take care of my own health? How do I make sure that I am fully nurtured, that I have all the nutrients that I need? And this is what I'm going to be talking about now, how to actually do that. Now, it turns out that we can control our own health by 70%. So only 30% of our health comes from our genes. What our mothers, our grandmothers, or our dads, what they have. Increased risk to cancer or increased risk of blood problems and so on, but it's only 30%. So 70% of the illnesses we have are lifestyle-based. That means what we eat, what we drink, and what we think. And we mustn't underestimate the power of thought. We can actually think ourselves well, and we can also think ourselves ill. So what we eat, what we drink, and what we think, that is lifestyle. And we can control that in terms of the illnesses associated with that by 70%. That's a lot. That's really a lot. Even some people say 80%. And I'm going to tell you now what that is, how we do that. And it isn't massive amount of things. And everybody, like you go in social media, you read the newspaper, wherever you get your news from, the radio, wherever you get it from. And anyway, vegans don't take it. Other times we should have eggs. We must drink coffee, then it's a good thing. We mustn't drink alcohol, then we are told, oh, actually red wine is a good thing. And it goes like this. Dairy, all sorts of things. It's being told this all the time. Potatoes, sugar, and so on. But science isn't like that. That's sensational journalism that is like that. They pick up things out of the blue air, because now they're out of the thin air, because now they need to have you looking even more at what they're saying, even more on that blog, or even more on that stream, or whatever it is. But science isn't actually like that. Science builds on itself all the time. And it's one layer on one layer on one layer, and so you get this massive basis of knowledge that is actually pretty rock solid, because it's been tested so many times and peer-reviewed and so on. And when they find something new, it's very rare that it contradicts what's already been found. Very rare. It can happen, but it's very rare. So it's extremely important to think like that. It's not, oh, I saw this in the news. I heard the other day, literally, I'm from Denmark originally, you can hear my accent, I better say that right away, otherwise you'll be sitting wondering, where's she from? Rather than listening to what I'm actually saying. So I'm from Denmark originally, I've been there 35 years, you can't get rid of your accent, it's how it is. But I heard the other day, a Danish person who was one of our customers was saying, In Denmark, the doctors are telling us now that you can get too much chlorophyll. Too many green vegetables, too much of the green stuff in vegetables. Wherever did they get that out? You know, that's ridiculous. That is literally just this sensational thing of fear into the population. You can get too much of a certain vitamin. You know, actually, when they're telling us this, then it is true, you can get too much of a certain vitamin, but only if you do it in a in a vitamin base, in a supplement base, because it's artificially produced. You can't get too much of a natural food, like a vegetable or a berry. You can't get too many vitamins or minerals from that. It's not possible. So that I found that, okay, now they're telling us we can't get too much chlorophyll. Soon they'll tell us we can't get enough. It's how it happens. Science will tell you what's real because it's tested, it's peer-reviewed, all of those things. And there is no way that you get too much chlorophyll. And that's, you know, the green color in plants, the green plants. Right. So now I'm going to tell you the 5 things that research actually tells us we need to do for optimal health. And this has been tested over the past 20, 30 years. It's really solid. And it isn't complex. But before I do that, I just want to tell you about the three ages. We have 3 ages. How many of us know we have 3 ages? We don't just have 1 age. We have 3 ages. We have our physical age. Everyone knows their own age. You can't run away from that. But then you have your biological age or your metabolic age. That one can be 10 to 15 years younger or older than your physical age. And that depends on your lifestyle. What you eat, what you drink, and you think. So when you eat really optimally for health, you can shave years off your physical age. That's nice. So it's the age you feel and you look, basically. And that's amazing. So you can be 10, 15 years younger than your physical age, or older. And that depends on your lifestyle, and that will become of these 5 things that I'm going to mention next. So that was your 2nd age. And your 3rd age, you are tens of thousands of years old, each one of us. Tens of thousands of years old. Why? Because we are a result of evolution, right? We don't sit here as individuals. We are a result of evolution. We have evolved over tens of thousands of years. That is why natural foods are so powerful and why plants can never be bad for you. Obviously, not if they're poisonous, but natural plants that are edible. And why supplements, although I'm not going to knock them and say they're not good, but they can never be as effective as natural foods. Because a supplement was created about 50 years ago. That's when they realized, 50, 60 years ago, when they realized, oh, we can create this in the lab. But that's not the same. For example, folic acid, which we are told is really good for cell renumeration, which we need, for example, when we are pregnant. But folic acid doesn't exist in nature. Folates do. And folates you get from beetroot, for example. And folates are so much easier to absorb in the body. Why? Because the body recognizes it. It's like it looks like this. Folic acid looks like that. The body will struggle to recognize it. But if you take folates from beetroot, the body goes, whoa, I know what that is. You know, I'm tens of thousands of years old, I know exactly what that is. It's a vegetable, it's where I came from. So that's why natural foods are so important. Now, we are like stars. And I want to just explain very quickly about that. And that is, you know, when you look up into the sky and you see a star, that star is different from what you're looking at. It's a result of millions of years of traveling, right? Because the light takes time to reach us. Our health is the same. My health of where I stand now is not a result of what I ate this morning. It's a result of what I ate last year, the year before, and 5 years earlier. Interesting. And also, which is the nice part of it, is what I eat today will influence how I feel and look and my health in a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. So that's the positive side of it. It's never too late. It's never too late. And if there's one thing I hope you'll get out of this talk today is that you feel inspired. And you go, okay, I get it now. I'm going to do this now. I really get it. That's why I'm here. to inspire people. That is, can you say, my kind of passion in life. I do love doing that and informing people. So with juice therapy, there is so much we can do with juices. With beets, with pineapple, with turmeric, with lemon. It's all nutrition. And when you think about it, I always think about like this beautiful castle and it's just amazing and magnificent. Well, it consists of individual bricks, right? And that castle will only be as strong and as magnificent as the individual bricks. And when they start cracking and disappearing, the whole thing will come down. That's the same with our health and nutrients. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, they are our building blocks in our body. And our body is only as good as the individual nutrients and the level that you have in your body. So that's what you need to think, and that is optimal health. When you have all of the nutrients that your body needs. So there was this study, and it was in Northern Europe, so that's UK, Germany, Denmark, whole Northern Europe, and they asked people, so do you think you have enough nutrients in your body? And about 80%, 70 to 80% of us said, yeah, I think so. You know, I get my salads, or good food, and I eat well, so. But it turns out that when you actually measure what they have in their bodies of nutrients, only 5 to 10% of us have enough nutrients in our body. That means live up to it. So in a room of 100, about 5 or 10 of us have enough nutrients in our body. That's not a lot. Now we're beginning to understand why it is that we actually become ill. Why it is that we actually get tired way before we need to. Why it is that we can't get up in the morning, or why we feel also mentally drained. Because mental health hangs together with physical health. We can do this through juices, and I will explain more about these later, but by taking different natural juices like carrot, and just a simple carrot is full of vitamin A, amazing for our eyes. Like I have 2 little puppies now, Alice will know about them. The cutest. So what do I give them of food? Obviously I give them the vegetables. They get carrots to bite into, amazing. They get turmeric for their digestion and for their immune system. They get a little bit of ginger, just a little bit of ginger in there, amazing for our immune system. And so same with our health. What you feed your body will be the result of how you feel and look and think in 1 year, in 2 years, and 5 years from now. So it's amazing what we can do. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about omega-3. So the 5 top tips. Oh my God, it's moving. It's just moving back. I do not know how I did that. So there are 5 things that science tells us is good for our health, is really amazing for our health. Only 5 things. You need 1.5 pounds, that's 600 grams of green vegetables a day. Because of the nutrients that are in there. And if you think health, then you think green every time. Although it's amazing to have a rainbow diet, green is the most important thing to have. So they want the equivalent to a big bag of spinach or 3 heads of broccoli, 1.5 pounds of green vegetables a day. And they should really ideally be raw, because that's how you get live foods. You get the enzymes as well. And I'll talk about enzymes in a minute. Number 2, you need omega-3 oils. The reason why you need omega-3 oils, and for vegans, you can get it from plankton or from algae. And because actually...
You get it from flaxseed?
Yes, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. It's slightly different, it's okay, but the better way of doing it is through algae. Because it's the right kind of omega-3, the most effective kind, the kind you absorb. And why do we need omega-3? We need it because our cell wall needs to be flexible. And you need omega-3 for that. So that means it is flexible enough to take in the nutrients and to release the waste products. If you have a rigid cell membrane, you won't absorb the nutrients so effectively from your food, and the waste product can't leave your body, can't leave the cells. Now, if you imagine your body as a sack, an empty sack, we only consist of 3 things. Can you imagine what are the 3 things that our body consists of? Water. 50% in our body is water, about 60 to 70% in the brain. So we consist of water. What's the second thing? Yes, so cells. Fat cells, brain cells, heart cells, kidney cells, muscle cells, it's all cells. So we consist of water and cells. And the last one, you might not actually guess, it's amazing, bacteria. And we have many, many more bacteria in our body than we have cells. And we have about 100 times more cells than there are stars in our galaxy. In one body. More cells than there are stars in the galaxy. And we have many, many, many more bacteria in the body than we have cells. And the bacteria are everywhere, but they are also very much in our gut. So we need to be friendly with our bacteria. Interesting. So now we know why we need omega-3 oils for the flexibility of our cells. We need greens for the nutrients that feed our cells. And we need water, 1.5 liters to 2 liters a day, every day. And it's free. It will help your skin, your digestion, your energy levels, your blood health, everything. I mean, I asked my mother, so she was saying, oh, I have a little bit of problem with my digestion. And she does take our juices, and I'll obviously explain about superfood juices in a minute. And I have problems with my digestion. And I hear this so often when we talk to our clients, our customers on the phone, that has digestive issues. I ask them, never do you drink enough water. I ask them, do you drink 1.5 liters to 2 liters a day? And what do you think they say? A lot of them say no. They don't drink enough water. And I should say I'm pretty dehydrated today because I've been around. What I do though is I take big 1/2 liter glasses. And I know I need 3 of those every day. So I know when I've got enough. And coffee doesn't count, alcohol doesn't count, and black tea doesn't count. Herb teas count. Obviously all the water you have in your vegetables and your food counts. But if you do that, your energy will immediately spike up. You will have clearer, healthier skin. Your digestion will be great. Your blood health, everything. Your memory is amazing. And now we know why. Because 60% of our body is water. Lifestyle. This one we know. We must control our unhealthy fats and the sugars in our body. Incredibly important. And then we need to just make sure that our gut health is healthy enough. And so we need probiotics. So we need to get that either with fermented foods or we buy them in the supermarket. Now I just want to say a little bit of omega-3 oil. Just because, as I said, it could be simply algae for vegans. And that's what the fish eat anyway, so that's where it comes from. Why does it do that? That's ridiculous. So we need a balance of 1-to-1 between omega-3 and omega-6. Omega-3 is what you get from the, as I say, from the algae or from the fish. And omega-6 is the oil you fry and boil things in. So we need a balance of 1-to-1. And the problem is that we don't have that balance because we eat much, much more of these unhealthy oils than the omega-3 oils. And this causes a huge amount of issues. Breast cancer, cardiovascular disease, inflammatory disease, autoimmune diseases. So if you have any one of those things, and it's linked to menopause, all sorts of things, teenage health, you name it, you've got it. It's also part of IQ. So if we can increase the IQ of our children by including omega-3 oil in their diet. Guess what I'm giving my puppies right now? Omega-3 oil. Because my son, he's 22, so he's all about this too. Obviously he got it before. Incredibly important. Now I'll start talking a little bit about the greens, the first element, which is the one that I'm going to talk a bit about now. So the green vegetables. Remember, you need 1.5 pounds or 3 broccoli heads. Hugely important. Very difficult though. I actually have only come across, I think, about 3 people in all of my time with all of my talks. And they were all like right up against it with death's door. And then they said, right, that's it. I am actually going to do 1.5 pounds of green vegetables raw every day. It's pretty hard to do. But if we do, research has told us that we will have optimal health. We get all the nutrients that we need. This is where the wheatgrass juice come in and why I began to take it with my health and my issues, as I told you about my skin, which was really, really bad. The moment I actually found wheatgrass juice, and a few months later, it just really cleared up. It was amazing. Obviously, I cannot claim that because I'm not allowed, but I can certainly talk about the nutrients in there. How much time do I have?
No.
Okay,
I've got
that's
the worst job in the world. I'm sorry.
So it doesn't contain any gluten or wheats, and I would definitely encourage you to go to our stand downstairs, and we will hand out a juice, and you can taste it. It's really delicious. The way I normally do a juice is literally just in a blender. Every morning, that is my breakfast. I got a little blender. I buy simply some nice, good quality apple juice. Put a banana in there. If I do it for more than myself, I actually do for the whole office. So 1 banana, a kiwi fruit, and then I take the wheatgrass juice. And wheatgrass juice is basically the wheat plant that is the sprout. So it's just this high, and we squeeze the juice out, and then we instantly freeze it, so it retains the enzymes. It's live. And I put that inside my blender, blend it around, whisk it around for about 30 seconds, and you have the most amazing juice. That, by the way, is my breakfast. So often we overeat, but we're undernourished. But with this, you get all the nourishment you need, and you've got hardly any calories, for those who are kind of a little bit wondering about that. So I would encourage you, and I'll stop now, I encourage you to go down to our stand, downstairs, right at the end, and you'll get a beautiful, beautiful juice there, and we can talk more.